Hi everyone, welcome to another video of C++ for beginners. In this video I wanted to talk about operators in C++, and we are going to cover the ones that are used most of the time, but I'm also going to make a separate video for certain operators that have specific use in C++. So in this video we will talk about the ones that are used most of the time and that you really need to know and understand. And also make sure to watch the entire video because I do have some important tips to give you when it comes to this that you really need to understand and that you will find handy for your future progress and learning of programming. The first thing that I wanted to explain is what are operators. You can understand operators as special type of functions that are used to perform certain calculations on arguments or operands, and then based on those arguments and on that calculation, they give you a new value. So the first type of operators that I want to talk about are arithmetic operators. And you are probably familiar with most of these. So there is operator of adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and also one more operator that you may not be familiar with, which is the modulo operator. So all of these are arithmetic operators. And let me give you an example of how these are used. So I'm going to say cout, and then let's write out the result of 5 plus 2. Now let's add one end line. Okay, so this here is the operator of adding, and then these two are operands or arguments, and this here is going to perform certain calculation and then write that out to my console. So if I run my program, we get the expected result, which is 7. So these really behave as you would expect them to behave in maths. But there are certain rules that are specific to programming and that I want to mention. So this operator here, operator of dividing. Let me give you a simple example. If I say cout and then 5 divided by 2 and I add end line, what do you expect to see in this line here? Write that in the comments down below. Now I'm going to run my program and you see that the result that I've gotten from this line here is 2. But why has that happened? We know that 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Well, there is a certain rule in programming that says that the result of dividing two whole numbers like this, so 5 is whole number and then 2 is also whole number, is also going to be represented as whole number. So even though the result of dividing these two is 2.5, that 0.5 cannot really be put inside integer variable, so it cannot be put inside integer container. So just 2 can be put here. And that 0.2 is really lost. If you want to show the real result of dividing these two, what you have to do is you have to make one of these two or both of them of a different type. And that type is going to be decimal point number, so float or double. So if you put here 2.0 or you put here 5.0, then in this case, you are going to get the result represented as decimal point number. So you can use it like this, or you can make just one of these of a floating point type. So you can say also like this. And then if I run my program now, you see that now I have got the expected result, so 2.5. That is one rule that you really need to know when it comes to this division operator. And another tip that I want to show you is this operator of modulo. So how do we use this modulo operator? This example here that I've just shown you, let me return this to this situation where I've been dividing two whole numbers, and we've just seen that 5 divided by 2 is going to result as 2. And that 1 that remains, we can get that 1 really with this operator here. So if you say cout and then 5 modulo 2, add end line, this operator here is going to give you the remainder of dividing two whole numbers, which are these two. So the result of this operation is going to be that 1. So let me run my program. And you see that we have gotten that expected result. So 5 divided by 2 when it comes to whole numbers, if you're dividing whole numbers, the result is also going to be whole number, and in this situation it's going to be 2. And then that remainder after dividing two whole numbers you can get with this modulo operator, and the remainder after dividing 5 with 2 is 1, and you get it with this operator here. So these 5 are really arithmetic operators, and these are also called binary arithmetic operators. Why binary? Well, because they are all used with 2 operands. They perform their calculation on 2 operands. There is also another type of arithmetic operators in C++ that are used or that perform calculations on only 1 operand, and those are unary operators. The examples of unary operators in C++ are this operator here, which is operator of increment, and then this operator here, which is the operator of decrement. So how these are used? Let me give you an example. So let's create a variable of type int, and let's call it counter. And I'm going to assign to that variable a value of 7, for example. So how this operator of increment works is it really increases the value of your variable by 1. So if I say counter plus plus, what this operator is going to do, it's really going to add +1 to my counter variable. So 7 plus 1, it should in this line here increase value of my counter variable to 8. And let's prove that. Oops, cout counter, and then let's add one end line. Okay, if I run my program, you see that we've got expected result. So 8. We've declared a variable of type int called counter. We've given it a value of 7. And then in the next line, we applied this increment operator to it, which had increased its value +1, so 8. And then after we write out that value of that variable, we got our result. So that is how this increment operator is used. This decrement operator, so counter minus minus, this decrement operator here works reverse. So it really subtracts 1 from this variable here. And if I copy this line here and then paste it, after this line here, our counter should be decreased by 1. So the value of our counter should really again be 7. And if I run my program, oops, like this, you see that we've gotten our 7. So we've gotten the expected result. However, there are specific rules when it comes to these increment and decrement operators. And let me explain what I mean on another example. So I'm going to create another variable of type int, call it counter2, and let's assign it also a value of 7. And what I want to do with this variable here is I want to write out its value, but I want to write out and increment its value in a single line. So I want to do this. So cout counter2 plus plus. And I'm missing this redirection sign here. Okay, so what are you expecting to see in this line here? We've seen that this line here has resulted with 8, and this line here should also result in 8. Let's see. Okay, run my program. And it didn't. In this line here, we have written out 7, but why has that happened? Well, this operator here is increment operator, but it is really post increment operator. And what that means is that whatever operation needs to be performed on this variable is going to happen first, and then this increment operation is going to happen. So that is called post increment. Another type of increment is pre-increment, and it is used like this. Okay, and this pre-increment means that whatever operation needs to happen on this variable here, first I'm going to increment it, and then I'm going to perform that operation. So if I run my program now, you see that we now get our 8, same as here. And that is because we have used this pre-increment, which first has increased our variable, and then our variable is written out. Okay, and the same is applied for decrement operator. So for example, if I say cout counter to minus minus, and then, oh my God, again. Okay, and then if I run my program, you see that we have gotten the same value for this line and this line, so 8. And why that has happened is because we have used this post decrement here. So first our variable has been written out, and after that the value of that variable has been decreased. So just to prove that, I'm going to say one more time cout and then counter 2 without any increment or decrement, just to prove that the value of this variable has been decremented after it has been written out. So if I run my program again, you see that this line here has resulted in 8, and then this line here has resulted in 7. Okay. So you see that our console now is full of some random numbers, and it's really making it hard to read. So what I want to do is I want to clear out my console, but without deleting this code here. So how I'm going to do that? I'm going to use a command that is called system, and then inside these parentheses, I'm going to say cls, which really is going to clear my screen. So if I run my program, you'll see that all of our code is still here, but console has been cleared. So that's because of this command here. That's a quick tip if you need to clear your console. Another type of operators that I want to talk about are relational operators. And these are really used to compare the value of two operands, so two arguments. And relational operators in C++ are following. So we have less than, and then we have greater than, and then less than or equal to, and then greater than or equal to. Then we have just is equal to operator, and then we have not equal to. So these 6 are relational operators in C++. And how these are used, let me show you in an example. So let's say that I'm going to create a variable of type int, call it a, and let's assign it a value of 5, and also create another variable that is called b and assign it a value of 5. So now, if I say cout, and then inside these parentheses, I'm going to say, please write out if my variable a is greater than my variable b. So if my 5 is greater than this another 5. Okay, and I'm using these parentheses because I want my cout command to know that this here is one expression that first should be calculated, and then whatever this expression here results in, I'm going to write that out in my cout command. So if I run my program now, you see that we have gotten 0. And if you know about how computers work, you know that they work on zeros and ones, meaning that 0 represents false and then 1 represents true. So in this situation, we have gotten the result of false. So when I ask my computer, is my a greater than my b? So is 5 greater than 5? It says false. No, it is not. Okay. And the same is going to happen if I put here this other operator of less than, like this. But if I, for example, put less than or equal to, so this operator here, and I run my program again, you see that now we have gotten the result of 1. So that is true. That is what our computer considers as true. So our 5 is less than or equal to 5, which is correct. And even better would be if we say just is equal to, and in this situation also we are going to get true as a result, like this, because 5 is equal to 5. And then how we use this operator here is like this. So you can say, is my a not equal to my b? And your computer really hears, is my 5 not equal to my 5? And the response to that is going to be no. It is false because these two are equal. It's the same number even though it's held by two different variables. Okay. I hope you understood these relational operators. And there is also one tip that I want to give you here, and that is, you see this comma sign here. This is also operator in C++. And it is not relational operator, but it is binary operator. And how this operator is really used, because we have seen it before without knowing that it was an operator, it is used as follows. So in this line here, we have said, please create a variable of type int, call it a, and assign it value of 5. And then also, so that is the purpose of my comma, so also create another variable of type int, call it b, and assign it value of 5. So my comma in this situation is operator and separator as well. So it is pretty intuitive. So before we continue, let's add one more of these clear screen commands here. And the next type of operators that I want to talk about are logical operators. And there are 3 of those. So we have logical and then a logical or, and then also not operator. So these 3 are logical operators. And they are usually used to combine 2 or more conditions into one single condition. And I'm going to show you that on an example. And let's use for that example these variables here. Let's just change the value of our b to 8, for example. So what I want to do is I want to write out following. So is my a equal to 5? And then also is my b equal to 5? I want to write out the result of this expression here. And you see that we have used our AND operator to combine these 2 expressions. So if I run my program, you see that the result of this is false. So that is the nature of our AND operator. It really works like this. It says, please check, is my a equal to 5? Yes, it is. And then also check, is my b equal to 5? No, it is not. It is 8. So then this operator says, okay, whatever, then this whole expression is going to be false. Because this operator here needs both of its operands, so this here, and then this here also, both of these need to be true in order for this whole expression to result as true expression. That's the nature of this AND operator. However, there is one more forgiving operator in C++, and that is this operator here. So this OR operator. And if I paste that here instead of our AND operator, and I run my program again, you see that this time we got different result. Now we have true, and that is the nature of our OR operator. So it says, please check if this is true or this here is true. Whichever of these results as true, then I'm going to be true expression. Only in the situation where this here is false and also this here is false, I'm going to result as false. In any other situation, this here is going to be true. So that is the nature of OR operator. And then we have also this NOT operator, which really negates whatever comes after it. So if I put it here, for example, you see that you've seen that previously this expression here has resulted as true expression. Now that I negate it, we are going to get false. So that is our NOT operator here. Okay. And there is also one more thing that I want to explain when it comes to the precedence of these operators, which means priority of these operators. So which operator types have the biggest priority? The biggest priority have arithmetic operators. After that come these relational operators, and then the smallest priority have these logical operators. So let me show you that on an example. Let's just comment this very quickly, and let's add another line, but the previous one that we had. So this here, like this. That is the operation that has resulted as false. So is my a equal to 5, and then is my b also equal to 5? And this has resulted as false. But if we, for example, say it like this, what do you think that this expression here is going to write out? So if I run it, you see that we have gotten 1. Why is that so? Well, as I've said, the biggest priority have arithmetic operators. So this expression here is going to be executed first. So 5 plus 3. After that, priority have these relational operators. So this operator here and this operator here. So after that comes logical operation. So this expression here is going to be really, is my A equal to 5? Yes, it is. And then also, is my B equal to 8? And the answer to that is also yes. So now both of these operands are true, and our AND operator is satisfied now, and it's going to result as true operation, this whole expression. So you need to remember that the biggest priority have arithmetic operators, so these here, binary and unary arithmetic operators. After that, we have our relational operators, and then the least priority have these logical operators here. Let's add one more of these clear screen commands before we talk about the last type of operators that I want to cover in this video, and those are operators of assignment. And there are 6 of those, and they are as follows. So operator that just assigns value, and then operator that adds and assigns, and then operator that subtracts and assigns, multiplies and assigns, divides and assigns, and modulates and assigns. So these 6 are operators of assignment. And let me show you how they work. So first I'm going to create a variable of type int, and let's call it x, and let's assign it a value of, for example, 5. Okay, so this here is example of this assignment operator here. And that is how it works. It assigns whatever is on the right to your variable on the left. So that is the direction of association. It really says whatever is on my right side, please assign that to my left side. And let me show you now how these here work, because they're a bit more complex. So if I say, for example, x plus equals 7, like this, what this expression here is going to do? Well, let me write out one more expression, and that is x equal to x plus 7. So this expression here and this expression here are just the same. This is just shorter way to write this here. And what this here does, well, this is expression that is not valid in mathematics, but in programming it is. And it does following. So it says, please, whatever is on my right side, assign that to my left side. And why it does that? Well, because this arithmetic operator here has priority over this assignment operator. So if you remember when we were talking about priority, these assignment operators have the lowest priority of all. So whatever is on my right side, that is x plus 7, is going to be assigned to my x variable. So 5 plus 7 is going to be equal to 12, and then that is going to be assigned to your x variable in this line here. And this expression here is really short way to write this here. Okay, so I'm going to comment this out, and if I write the value of my x now, we are expecting to see 12, and it is the result that we have gotten. So this x plus equals 7 is just going to do this, so this expression here. So it's going to add to my x this number here. And the same applies to these operators here. So this one that subtracts and then assigns or multiplies and assigns, divides and modulates. So if you say, for example, x minus equal to 7, then that is really going to result as x is equal to x minus 7. And then that right side is going to be assigned to your left variable, because arithmetic operators have priority over these operators of assignment. And if I run my program again, it really sees 5 minus 7, and that is minus 2. So I hope that you have understood these examples that I've just given you, and I'm also going to include some more examples at the end of this video, but tricky ones, so that you can be sure that you have really understood these operators in C++, because they are used very often and you have to understand them in order to continue with your progress on a programming path. So make sure to do those examples on your own. And if you come across any problems or you have any questions that are related to this video, write those in the comments down below and I'm going to answer them. I'm going to help you. And if you liked this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel and also click the bell icon so that you are first to be notified when I publish my next video. And I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.